intoxicating shower of nectar. Some people cry, some dance, and others become fully intoxicated in their minds. Lord Shiva, embracing Narad Muni, repeatedly makes loud screams of ecstatic joy, and Lord Brahma, dancing very ecstatically, says, "All of you kindly chant Hari Bol, Hari Bol." In great happiness, the thousand faces Anant Shesha chants Hari Hari. By the influence of the transcendental vibration of the holy name, the whole universe becomes ecstatically maddened, and everyone tastes the mellows of the holy name. Thakur Bhakti Vinoda, the humble servant of the Lord, says, "The holy name of Krishna has fulfilled all my desires by vibrating on everyone's tongue." Bhakti Vinoda therefore prays at the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami that the chanting of Harinam may continue like this always. Hare Krishna.
The next song is Yashomati Nandana Prajavara. यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना गोपी मदन मनोहर कालिय दमन विदान गोपी मदन मनोहर कालिय दमन विदान यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवरु नागर गोकुल रंजन काना अमल हरिनाम अमिय विलास विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर वर विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर वर वंशी बदन सुवास वंशी बदन सुवास यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवरु नागर गोकुल रंजन काना ब्रज जन पालन असुर कुल नाशन ब्रज जन पालन असुर कुल नाशन नंदन गोदन रखुवाला गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर सुंदर नंद गोपाल गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर सुंदर नंद गोपाल यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवरु नागर गोकुल रंजन काना यमुना तट चर गोपी बसन हर यमुना तट चर गोपी बसन हर रास रसिक कृप मोया रास रसिक कृप मोया श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नटवर भक्ति विनोदाश्रय श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नटवर भक्ति विनोदाश्रय यशोमती नंदन व्रजभर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना. Translation, Mother.
Translation: Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the transcendental lover in the land of Vraja, the delight of Gokula, Kana, a nickname of Krishna, the wealth of the lives of the gopis, He steals the mind of even Cupid and punishes the Kaliya serpent. These pure holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Lord Krishna is the lord of the 12 forests of Raja. He is ever youthful and is the best of lovers. He is always playing on a flute and he is an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of the inhabitants of Raja, the destroyer of various demonic dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaj's cows, the giver of pleasure to the cows' land and spiritual senses, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the butter thief, and the beautiful cowherd boy of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna wanders along the banks of river Yamuna. He stole the garments of the young damsels of Praja who were bathing there. He delights in the mellows of the rasa dance. He is very merciful, the lover and beloved of Srimati Radharani, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the shelter and the only refuge of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Jai Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, I will be singing this song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas. This song is based on Srila Rupa Goswami's verse Smeran Bhangi Trayam Parijitam Sachi Vistirna Murtim. You can go and look for this verse, a very beautiful, beautiful verse by Srila Rupa Goswami. And this song is based on that verse. It's a very beautiful song. बंधु संगे जदि तव रंग परिहास बंधु संगे जदि तव रंग परिहास थाके अभिलाष थाके अभिलाष थाके अभिलाष थाके अभिलाष बंधु संगे जदि तव रंग परिहास बंधु संगे जदि तव रंग परिहास तबे मोरा कथा रख जेओ नको तबे मोरा कथा रख जेओ नको मथुराय केशी तीर्थ घाटेर साकाश मथुराय केशी तीर्थ घाटेर सकाश बंधु संगे जदि तव रंग परिहास गोविंद विग्रह धरी तथाए আছে না হরি গোবিন্দ বিগ্রহ ধরি তথায় আছে না হরি নয়নে বঙ্কিমা দৃষ্টি মুখে মন্দহাস নয়নে বঙ্কিমা দৃষ্টি মুখে মন্দহাস किंवा त्रिभंगमठाम वर्णसमुज्ज्वल श्याम किंवा त्रिभंगमठाम वर्णसमुज्ज्वल श्याम नवकिशलय शोभा श्रियंगे प्रकाश नवकिशलय शोभा श्रियंगे प्रकाश बंधु संगे जदि तब रंग परिहास अधरे वंशीटी तार अनर्थेरा मूलाधार अधरे वंशीटी तार अनर्थेरा मूलाधार शिखी चूड़ा के ओ भाई कोरोना विश्वास शिखी चूड़ा के ओ भाई कोरोना विश्वास से मूर्ति नयने हेरे केहा नाही घरे फिरे से मूर्ति नयने हेरे केहा नाही घरे फिरे संसारी गृही राज्य गो होए सर्वनाश ताई मोरा मने गो बड़ा त्रास घटिबे विपद भारी जेऊ न कोहे संसारी घटिबे विपद भारी जेऊ न कोहे संसारी मथुरा केशी तीर्थ घाटे रसाकाश मथुरा केशी तीर्थ घाटे रसाकाश बंधु संगे जदि तब रंग परिहास बंधु संगे जदि तब रंग परिहास. Hare Krishna.
Translation: If you want to enjoy laughing and joking with friends and family, if this is really your desire, then listen to me. Don't go. Don't go to Mathura Vrindavan, to Keshi Ghat. There Sri Hari has taken the form of Govinda, who gives pleasure to all, whose crooked glance is quite captivating, whose mouth is gently smiling, who is standing in his Tribhanga pose, whose complexion is very effulgent Shama color, and whose limbs are attractive like tender new leaves. The sounds of his Vamshi enthroned upon his lips is the root cause of madness. Brother, have no faith in that person who wears a crest of peacock feathers. If you see that form, you will not be able to return home again. Your family life will be destroyed. This is my great fear. There will be great danger if you go there. If you want to enjoy family life, don't go to Mathura near Keshi Ghat. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Dhanwad Pranam. Over to you, Sharad Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Lalit Priya Mataji,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my obeisance. All these to the devotees. Let me start with the invocation prayers. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Veshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय. So in the last class, is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes, mother.
So in the last class, we actually stopped at this slide number 31. And there were a couple of questions in the last class with which we actually concluded. So let me start off with those before I proceed further. The question...
Mataji, voice is very low.
Voice is very low. You're able to hear me now?
I don't know whether I'm having problem or it's is it audible to everyone?
Yes, yes, I'm able to hear clearly.
Is it okay now?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Deepti Mataji, you're able to hear?
Yes,
Maybe your
Mataji.
okay. Maybe your speaker volume is low. Please try to increase it and see if it works for you. So the questions that was asked is one was I remember Archana Mataji asking about Bhaktivinoda Thakur went back to Ullagram. He goes back even after his grandfather's passing away. So what happens is his father tries to Anand Chandradatta, he tries to solve the problems, the debt problems that his grandfathers had, both paternal and maternal. So what happens is after the grandfather's time, they acquire some, you know, hereditary property or something like that, with which they get some 5 villages. His father gets some 5 villages, and he wants to set up something for his father, his Bhaktivinoda Thakur's grandfather. And they say that I don't want, he says that I don't want these things. I'm okay in Orissa and I'm, doing my devotional service. I'm chanting with this. And apparently after that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's father seems to have fallen sick and he passes away. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually, manages all these debts. When he was very young, when they acquired these kind of properties, he managed those debts with those properties that they got. So he went back there. Another question was from Sanjeev Prabhuji, that, why that black snake came out. What does it indicate? The black snake coming out of, when he was very sick, the fakir gave him a mantra to chant and gave some herbal preparations. And his mother was giving him diet prepared with tamarind, ripe tamarind stew with the rice and sabji. So the fakir says not to eat anything, only offered to demigods. So it is like a negative spell. I tried to Google it up and try to find it. I couldn't figure out anything talking about specifically about this. But what it means that, it is just like a negative energy that went out of his body. And the fakir was satisfied when he said that he saw a black snake just creeping out of his body with that. So now we will continue with his works. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as you all know, he was a writer. He was writing profoundly, and he is also a voracious debater, and he knows a lot about philosophy, different philosophies from different faith systems like Christianity and Islam. So in 1880, in a place called Narail, his Krishna Samhita, which he composed earlier, was published in the book format. And this book was in Bengali or in Sanskrit, and the book received much appreciation and recognition even from European scholars like Dr. Reinhold Rost, a great Oriental scholar of the day and a famous linguist. And he also sent it to another person, but Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was also an American transcendentalist, but the problem for him was he couldn't decipher Bengali language. But he said, whatever work you have written, I know it is like, it's something very precious, but I don't understand the language. Later on, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for his sake, wrote in English, translated in English, and sent it to the Western world. And when Dr. Reinhold Rost actually appreciated, he wrote this. He wrote from London on April 16th, 1880, that he could not reply to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's gesture of sending him Sri Krishna Samhita because he was very ill at that time. He thanked him later in a letter sending to India, that by representing Krishna's character and his worship in a more sublime and transcendent light that has hitherto been the custom to regard him in, you have rendered an essential service to your co-religionists, and no one would have taken more delight in your work than my departed friend Goldstucker, the sincerest and most zealous advocate of the Hindus ever had in Europe. So there was one of his friends who liked, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and he passed away. So, Dr. Reinhold appreciated Bhaktivinoda Thakur that, nobody would have appreciated your work more than Mr. Goldstucker. Then later on, Thakura, like I said, Ralph Waldo Emerson, you also know that this name was mentioned in our Bhagavad Gita, also in the front pages, who have appreciated the translation that was sent. Then he wrote a book called Kalyana Kalpataru. The Kalyana Kalpataru is the desire tree of auspiciousness, if you literally translate it. And it was published in 1882. Kalyana Kalpataru had very vast, extensive, elaborate explanation of spiritual life, right from the starting point till the highest level of transcendence, like, all those stages of bhakti. Then he started a Sajjana Toshini, a monthly Vaishnava journal, and that was also started in Marathi. Then at this point of time, he was actually not initiated when he was doing all these things. He was actually looking for an urgent initiation from a suitable guru. He had an urgent need, pressing need for getting initiated into the sadhana. So, and in a dream, Mahaprabhu actually gave him a hint that a guru will come and he will initiate him. So even within 1 or 2 days, Vipin Bihari Goswami ji wrote a letter to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying that he will come soon and give him Diksha. So he was Vipin Bihari Goswami ji was a descendant of Vamshivadana Thakura, who was a close associate of Lord Chaitanya. And he had taken care of Lord Chaitanya's mother and wife while he took sannyasa, when Lord Chaitanya took sannyasa. And he was also a disciple of Janava Devi, the wife of Lord Nityananda. In 1881, he got inspired to visit Brajdam after his 1866 trip, which he had gone earlier with. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur with his wife, his brother Lalita Prasad, and two servants his son Lalita Prasad and two servants went on a 3 months pilgrim to Vrindavan. There he met Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, who we see on our pictures at the altar, the lineage of Sampradaya gurus, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji at Vrindavan. Now this is during the pilgrim of Vrindavan, when he went to north side, he went to Ayodhya, he went to Lucknow and Kashi. And then at that time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to buy a house in Calcutta. And he found one house to his liking. But at that same time, he got transferred to Jessore. And in Jessore, when he went there, like I said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji had a lot of health issues throughout his life. He suffered from problems with his eyesight and fever. Then when he visited Srila Jagannath Das Babaji in Vrindavan, he was given a Govardhan Shila by Srila Jagannath Babaji to worship. So he was worshipping, when he was in Jessore, he was worshipping the Shila daily. Then, so to his liking, one day he could, get some money to buy that house that he was liking in Calcutta. And he did some repairs and he finally moved into that house after Griha Pravesh, or, they do a fire sacrifice to sanctify the house. Sorry, pardon my typos in this slide. Too many typos I'm noticing now. Then this was the house that he was living in, and this was later called Bhakti Bhavan. He also got transferred to nearby Barsak with the help of Mr. Peacock, who was in the English regime when they had colonized India, who was favorably disposed to Thakura. So anytime Thakura would say some advice, he would listen. Mr. Peacock was very favorable to Thakura. So at that time, when he had these severe fevers, the doctors at Jessore had told him, oh, this can be cured by just eating fish heads, and for your fever and for your eyesight, because fishes are considered to be good they have this cod liver oil or whatever, this vitamin E or whatever, that's good for the eyes. but it was so disgusting to even hear for Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he said, no, I will not take any such treatment, but I will get, treated by homeopathic doctors. And he took homeopathic treatment and he got cured. Then he met Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. You all know, you would have all heard that Vande Mataram song, Vande Mataram. So that was composed by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. So at Barsat, he met him. And at that time, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee had just completed a book called Krishna Charita about Lord Krishna. But that had a lot of, what you call, deviated information. And some of them were not presented as literal facts and presented as mythology or myth. So Thakura put forward arguments from scriptures. He says, look, I'm your friend, but you presented this book, but I don't agree with all that you wrote in this book. Krishna is God and his pastimes are literal facts. It happened. It's not myth. It's not mythology, not a study of mythology. It did happen. He was present on this planet. He did all these pastimes, and there are, evidences of those things. So in 1886, that was Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. And then later in 1886, commentaries on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti were actually translated, and he wrote his commentary called Rasika Ranjana, and that was also published. Then he wrote Bhajana Darpana Bhashyam, a Bengali commentary on Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Sammodana Bhashyam, a Sanskrit commentary on Lord Chaitanya, Dashopanishad Churnika, a book of Bengali prose on 10 principal Upanishads. And why he actually was doing all these things for, to tell Bankim Chandra Chatterjee that, what you wrote, about Krishna is not all 100% correct, because Bankim Chandra Chatterjee was greatly influenced by Western philosophers. So, and then he didn't have much regard for, he had regard for traditional Vaishnavism, but his writings were deviating. So the book had a lot of Western concepts and a lot of speculation, which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, like, no, this is not correct. And Bankim Chandra Chatterjee accepted it because he knew that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was an authority on Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and life and everything. So that is how he invited him. And in 1887, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur traveled extensively in Bengal to find Chaitanya Upanishad, which is part of the Atharva Veda. But what happened was he couldn't find the entire thing, so he found only in a very old manuscripts about that book. So now we come to the year 1888, when the phenomenal discovery of the birth site of Lord Chaitanya happened. And thanks to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that today all the devotees, we all go and to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's place of birth, and we worship there. It's only because of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who actually discovered this again. So, and then Thakura read different old manuscripts to find out which is the exact location. So he read Chaitanya Bhagavata, he read Bhakti Ratnakara and Narahari Sarkara's Navadip Parikrama Paddhati. And then he also found a map of that time of Ganga Govinda Singh, who was the Naib Diwan of the Khalsa, the Sikh. So Sikhism. So the name Sri Mayapura was mentioned in the map to indicate the site, what became known as Ballal Dighi, where the ruins of the kingdom of Lakshman Sena was. So what he wanted to do is, when he found all these information from different books and different manuscripts and different maps, he just wanted to ensure that, he's right about the place of birth of Lord Chaitanya. He didn't want to make any mistake anymore. So he requested Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, and he brought him, who was very much old at that time. He was 120 years old by that time. He was requested to be brought on a basket by his disciple Bihari. So when he was brought to the spot discovered by Thakura, he immediately jumped with ecstasy, saying, Eito Nimai Janma Bhumi. This is exactly Nimai Janma Bhumi. This is where Lord Chaitanya was born. So as soon as so he confirmed Thakura's discovery. And then that place is now available. Like we go there and we worship. And then after this, in 1890, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur published a book called Sri Navadip Dhamma Mahatmyam. Like I have that book, some of you may have that book, where each and every place of Navadip has been mentioned and the importance and the pastimes that happen and what did Lord Nityananda do in each place, what did Lord Chaitanya do. So all these have been mentioned by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in that book. Now, preaching furlough. Furlough means like he took a break of his deputy magistrate role in the Western colonization, like in India. He took a break for 2 years just for he got approval for taking a break for 2 years in August 1894 to just continue with this preaching program. So he wanted that time. He stopped all his duties, was just focusing on preaching. So he preached the glories of the holy name. He wanted each and every human to benefit of this. So he set up Namahatta, the marketplaces in Navadvip Dham, and he set up his base at Godrumadvip. And then he traveled with all these friends of his, Shri Ram Sevak Chattopadhyay, Bhakti Bringa, Shri Sitanath Das Mahapatra, and Shri Sheetal Nritya. They all chanted, sorry, it is not chatted, they all chanted holy names, gave lectures, and made devotees at that time. And Thakura thus established 500 Namahatta Sanghas. The spirit of his endeavor exactly the mood of Lord Nityananda. There is a funny pastime when Lord Nityananda used to call Srila Haridas Thakur for going on preaching sessions. And one time it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that they used to get beaten up in marketplaces because a lot of Jagai Madais were there. So one time when Lord Chaitanya was inquiring Srila Haridas Thakur, how did your day go and how did your preaching go? He says, your friend Lord Nityananda is mad. He takes me to places where I get beaten up because there's hardly people listen to our preaching message. And Nityananda is very stubborn that he has to get devotees, like he has to make them devotees. And I'm afraid I'm getting beaten up and I will get sick because of this. And this was just what the same mood Bhaktivinoda Thakur was having. He established all these Namahatta Sanghas, like 500 of them. It's not easy joke to do this everywhere. And then he started, talking about Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda and Radha Krishna's pastimes, and a lot of devotees were. So now we see that, he started writing so much in his 2 years break. We call it a sabbatical or furlough. So he started writing. These are some of the literatures that he wrote: Sri Harinama, Sri Nama Mahima, Sri Nama Prachara, Sri Nama Tattva, Vaishnava Siddhanta, Mala, Sriman Mahaprabhu Shiksha, Tattva Viveka, Sharanagati, Gita Mala, Gitavali. Sharanagati, Gita Mala, and Gitavali are book of songs he wrote in different moods, bhavas that he expressed himself. These are some of them. These are not the whole list. There are many, many things that he wrote. And day is not enough to glorify all these books, or even a year is not enough. And the list is like so many. And then he also wrote Sri Godruma Chandra Bhaganopadesha, Baula Sangita, Dalaila Gita, Jaiva Dharma that we did, Tattva Sutram, and a booklet in English named Nama Vajanam. So then he was transferred to a place called Sasara in 1893. And he didn't want to go there, basically. because there was a lot of conflict between Hindu and Muslims. One of the episode was one Vaishnava had bought a small place of land at Sasara, and he wanted to build a temple there. And Muslims objected that, we see that today also. It's not a new thing that we see today. It has been happening even before, during Bhakti Vinod Thakur's time also, even before that Lord Chaitanya's time also, 550 years ago. So the Muslims objected to the building of a temple there, because they said the temple cannot be built on a tomb. So that was what, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur was a very efficient magistrate. So the English people were very confident that if they deputed Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he will be able to resolve the issue and there will be peace and calm in that place. So they were confident, so they transferred him to Sasaram. And what happened was, when he got that transfer, he got another urgent matter to solve in another place called Koyat. So they actually prioritized this. So he was sent to Koyat. In Koyat, what happened was, again, this was again Muslim-Hindu conflict. And this is a funny one. Like, a Brahmana left his bull and he went on a pilgrim trip. And when he returned, he could not find his bull. So he concluded and accused that the Muslims around, the butchers who were there, they stole his bull and ate it. So, so Thakura was again deputed to this place. And Thakura said, like, he conducted the legal procedure, hearing of both the sides. And then what happened was riots broke out because the Hindus were very upset, and the Muslims were very violent, and they started fighting with each other. And some of the Muslims were given prison, and some of the Hindus were also punished because they didn't wait for the conclusive legal judgment that was supposed to be given. And before that, they started fighting with each other, and then they actually hit each other and they, impacted each other. So, Bhakti Vinod Thakur was forced to, give punishment to both sides. At this time, he was tired and he was contemplating about his retirement again. He once contemplated before also about his retirement because he was spending his energy in conflict resolution, and which he did not want to do because sometimes it gets very tedious and, both parties don't listen, and he's trying to, get them to hear and resolve the issues. So in 1894, the next year following this transfers, he wanted to build a temple for Lord Chaitanya. So he was in Calcutta at that time, and he went door to door begging for alms to build a temple for Lord Chaitanya. And he retired in the same year, and he went to Surabhi Kunj in Navadvip, in Godrumadri. And he started fully engaging himself in preaching, chanting, and writing. And at this point of time in 1896, what happened was Thakura wanted to actually not confine this Krishna conscious movement to just Bharatbhumi or, India per se on the map. He wanted to spread this out to the Western world too. He reached out to the Western world with this Sri Gauranga Leela Smarana Stotram, a book containing 104 Sanskrit verses and a condensed description of the pastimes and teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Book had a 47 pages introduction in English prose entitled Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and Precepts. And this was found in McGill University in Montreal, nowhere else in Canada, by Srila Prabhupada's disciple at that time. And this was the year, if you all remember, in 1896, this reached the Western world. There's some reason behind it in the history, because this is the same year Srila Prabhupada was also born. So if you see that there is so much connection there, like a spiritual connection, like when Thakura wanted the Western world to know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Radha Krishna, and he sent out this book, and he already envisioned that this is going to happen in the Western world by another powerful, empowered personality, Srila Prabhupada. And he was born in the same year. Um, so Swanand Sukhada Kunj. Actually, what happened, why I put this title, they returned actually. So, what Thakur, after retirement, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to go and be in Jagannath Puri Dham because he had several realizations when he was there at the places where Lord Chaitanya spent his last days on planet Earth. So he wanted to, retire and spend the time with his son, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura. They both went to Jagannath Puri and they were deeply in the mood of bhajana at Jagannath Puri Dham. And they were in their bhajana kuti, a short distance from the samadhi of Srila Haridas Thakur. And around that century turnaround, like in 1900, Thakura returned to Swanand Sukhadakunj in Godrumadvip because there is a specific reason what happened. There was a person by name, I think Krishna Charan Das or Jagannath Krishna Charana Das Babaji. There was some kind of argument or controversy between Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the teachings of Srila Haridas. Between that Babaji and Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur on the teachings of Srila Haridas Thakur. There were some deviations and there was severe controversy that they could not stay at Jagannath Puri Dham. So what he did was he advised Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to practice his bhajan at Mayapur, and he returned to his own kutir like Swananda Sukhadakunj in Godrumadvip. And at the same year, one of his famous works was Srila Harinama Chintamani was published. Sorry, it's in last piece. I missed. I think this presentation doesn't have one more slide. Maybe I skipped. Yeah, acceptance of Babaji Vision. In 1908, Thakura followed. So he wanted to get Babaji like Sannyas and Babaji, and he wanted to be initiated into the Babaji Pranali like by Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji. And Gaura Kishore Das Babaji was like, feeling very, very humble and very difficult for him because he knows that Thakura is much more than him in spiritual and material qualifications. And Gaura Kishore Das Babaji used to feel small that, how can I introduce somebody who is more elevated than me into the Babaji Vision? So he kept avoiding him, and Thakura followed the Babaji as he went from Thakura's house in Godumadvipa to the boat Kata, where he would cross the Ganges and go to Navadvipa. And Babaji refused as he felt very unqualified. And then one time what happened was even Gaura Kishore Das Babaji, he used to roar like a madman, and he went and sat on the veranda of a prostitute's house. And he thought that Thakura will not come and approach him there. So when Thakura felt that Babaji is feeling very unqualified and very difficult for him, he left him for some time. And then one fine day, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what he did is he sent one of his sons to invite Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji to his house at Swananda Sukhadakunj. And there, when Babaji came, he accepted the invitation and he came and he stayed there for some time. And finally, Babaji consented to initiate Thakura as a Babaji. And he gave him loincloth, and Thakura, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he only wore a loincloth, and he started accepting alms, and whatever he got, he was satisfied. And Thakura, during his days, he also accepted some disciples, and one of them was Krishnadas Babaji, and he was the one who was always there with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he served him till his last days. And as soon as Bhaktivinoda Thakur left the world, he also left within a month or so this world. Krishnadas Babaji was not able to take the separation. from his guru. He also left it. And in 1910, Thakura wanted to, shut himself from everybody. And at Bhakti Bhavan at Calcutta, he started engaging himself, you know, ceaselessly in devotional service, very uninterrupted devotional service. And on June 23rd, 1914, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur entered the eternal pastimes of the Lord at noon. And this is the same day Sri Gadadhar Pandit had left the world 450 years before. And truly the Thakura stanza composed in glorification in one of his poems, Srila Haridas Thakur, also applies to him. He is an ill who tells that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread a holy life around. But that is the end of the presentation. But I still have something more to say about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. During the years 1898 and 1899, the Thakura fully absorbed in preaching, book publishing, and bhajanas. What he did was, you all know Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur, Leela Shuka Bilva Mangal Thakur, that's how his name is. He wrote Sri Krishna Karnamrita. So what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur did is he got it published in the year 1898, and with the original Sanskrit verses, and there was a commentary also for that. And there was also Bala Bodhini Tika, commentary of the older brother of Kavi Karnapura, Chaitanya Das Goswami, a final summary and Bengali prose translations of those verses. In the same year, he wrote a commentary on the Upadeshamrita of Srila Rupa Goswamiji. And he also published an edition of Bhagavad Gita with a commentary of Sripad Madhvacharya and Sri Golok Mahatmyam, the second kanda of Sanatana Goswami's Brihat Bhagavatamritam with the original Sanskrit and his own Bengali translations of the verses. And then in 1899, the Sanskrit classic of Srila Narahari Sarkara called Sri Bhajanamrita was brought to light and translated into Bengali by the Thakura. And in the same year, the highly elevated 168 verse work called Sri Navadvip Bhavataranga, which describes the sights of Navadvipa from the point of view of a fully realized soul, was presented. These places are not described as geographical or historical entities of this world, but rather as Ishodhyana and the transcendental garden of the Supreme Lord. In this work, the Thakura revealed his Siddha Swarupa. Anybody who knows what his Siddha Swarupa was, his spiritual identity was? He was Kamala Manjari in Sri Krishna's pastime, the eternal assistant of Ananga Manjari. In his Sri Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika, Srila Rupa Goswami explains that Ananga Manjari is one of the Vara, or supermost gopis, and sister to Srimati Radharani. Lord Balrama's two wives were Srimati Varuni Devi and Srimati Revati Devi, and they appeared as wives of Lord Nityananda as Srimati Vasudha Devi and Srimati Jahnavi Devi. Sharat Prabhuji was actually elaborating on the story yesterday. This is explained in the Sri Gaura Ganodesha Deepika of Srila Kavi Karnapura. Both Vasudha Devi and Jahnavi Devi are considered to be the incarnation of Ananga Manjari. This means that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the eternal assistant of the eternal consort of Lord Nityananda. Thus, it becomes clear why Godrumadvip and particularly Swananda Sukhada Kunja, where Lord Nityananda inaugurated his preaching in Bengal, the marketplace of the Holy Name, was the especially dear site of worship for Thakura Bhaktivinoda. And then at the turn of the century, like 1900, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like I said, he went to Jagannath Puri. I'm repeating this. He was performing bhajana in the renounced mood of his gurus at the Gandharvika Giridhari Mata, which was located just near the Samadhi of Srila Haridas Thakur. And I think Archana Mataji showed some pictures of these places when she was giving her lectures on, you know, the places and the glories of Navadvip town. She was elaborating on that. So that is one thing. And I also wanted to talk about in 1902, he actually brought out a supplement to Harinama Chintamani called Bhajana Rahasya. It was arranged in 8 chapters, and the chanting of each chapter is to be absorbed in correspondence with each 3-hour period of the 24-hour day. Each chapter corresponds also to one verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sikshashtakam and deals with one of the 8 steps in the gradual development of Krishna Bhajana as is enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I just wanted to mention this because, when the principles of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana as set forth by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been elaborated by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all of his books, especially Kalyana Kalpataru and in Harinama Chintamani, Bhajana Rahasya. So if anybody interested, can procure a copy. And the last known work, and if anybody wants to know, of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was called Shri Swa Niyama Dwadashakam. These are 12 verses of self-imposed regulative principles written in 1907. The Sanskrit stava was modeled after the famous stava of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami called Swa Niyama Dashakam, which was comprised of 10 verses of self-imposed vows. So if I can read those vows. This work was a final statement of the Thakuras, an illuminating set of instructions regarding preparation for the spiritual realm of existence. That is, we are all hankering towards that spiritual realm of existence, and is expressed determination not to budge from the path established by Srila Rupa Goswami. So one, it says, birth after death, let me be attached to the following, come what may, to my spiritual master, to Lord Sri Gauranga, to the topics of pure devotional service as instructed by him, to the holy places of pilgrimage, which are all blooming with sanctity due to his performance of pastimes therein, to my Diksha mantra, to the holy name of Sri Hari, to the beloved associates of the Lord, to the holy days associated with Lord Hari, to those persons who follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, and to the scriptures enunciated by Srila Shukadev Goswami. Then, 2, within the forest of Vrindavan, which is gloriously rich in the treasure of Madhurya Rasa, Sri Krishna, the personification of spiritual mellows, gives transcendental bliss to Sri Radhika, who is the topmost manifestation of his divine potencies and the personified form of the supreme mellow of love in separation. This same Lord Krishna is identical to the son of Mother Shachi, who resides in Gauda Desha, Bengal, and teaches the process for rendering his own devotional service. May this Sachi Nandana be my supreme master birth after birth. Number 3, let not renunciation be fit for my acceptance if it does not give rise to loving devotion. And let not knowledge appeal to me at all if it does not admit to the individuality of the Lord and the Jivas. I have no desire at all to practice the eightfold yoga process. None of these are productive of the happiness of serving Lord Hari, such as his confidential worship is. Therefore, let such abundant confidential service to Sri Sri Radha Krishna be mine. Number 4, may I always dwell in a humble cottage at the root of a desire tree in the holy abode of Sri Shachi Sutta Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and there perform devotional service as is practiced in Vraja. Let me never dwell in any other place, even if it be fit for the happy residence of the most enlightened persons, nor even in a place furnished with all the rich trappings of sovereignty. Number 5, I have no attachment at all for the caste divisions of society, varnas, and I certainly do not identify with any of the social orders of life ashramas. I have not the least fondness for religion or for sinful life in this world. Instead, I desire to perform whatever duties are required for the maintenance of my body of dull matter, so long as they facilitate my performance of pure devotional service. Number 6, my austere vow is devotion to the lotus feet of Sri Hari. Thus, I have chosen to cultivate the following in myself great humility, simplicity, tolerance in all circumstances, respect for others, and compassion. Those transcendental activities alone are mine, which are recommended by devotees of the lotus feet of the Lord, and which are found described in books that are full of the imperishable character and pastimes of Sri Chaitanya. I have no longings, number 7, I have no longing for residence in the kingdom of Vaikuntha, nor for sense gratification or material works. I will never cherish the desire for attaining impersonal liberation, even for a second. There are, moreover, pastimes of Sri Hari that are purifying for the conditioned souls. Yet they are different from the bliss experienced in Braja and being devoid of any relationship with Sri Radhika. They give me no happiness at all. Number 8, I disown wife, daughters, sons, mother, and all my friends if they have no genuine attachment for Lord Hari, for his devotees, or for his devotional service. It is a great blunder even to accept foodstuffs prepared by such non devotional, materialistic, sense gratifiers. How will the perfection of my Hari Bhajana ever come about if I remain in their association? Number 9, some persons have utterly rejected the evil company of those who are blinded by mundane logic, those who are addicted to the fleeting pleasures of the dull material body, those who turn their faces against Lord Krishna, and those who are fond of the inferior concept of impersonal liberation. However, being swollen with excessive pride, they worship Govinda without Srimati Radharani being present. Therefore, I vow that I will never go near such as these, not even for a second. Number 10. I shall pass my life eating only prasad, food grains, and milk products, wearing only cloth that was offered to the deity, and using only utensils sanctified by the Lord's service. I will thus remain aloof from material sense gratification, living in a place sacred to Radha, worshipping the divine couple with a blissful mind. I will in time give up my body at the soles of the devotees' lotus feet, who are themselves serving the lotus feet of the divine couple. Number 11. Daily, I will take the nectar that has washed the feet of one who is expert at grasping the instructions of the son of Shachi and who incessantly adores the most worshipable personality and the enjoyer mellows with Krishna, Srimati Radharani within the forest of Raja. I will carry it on my head with a restrained mind and drinking it with great bliss. I will then offer my prostrations unto him. Number 12. My constitutional tendency is one of servitude to Lord Hari and will be a long time yet to come. Due to the deluding power of Mahamaya, however, I have fallen into the ocean of misery. I will rise above by daily following my self-imposed regulations with determination. May my only guide be the mercy of the Vaishnava, which destroys illusion. And the last one, the 13th one. This Swaniyama Dwadashakam was written by someone about his personal mode of performing bhajana. Whosoever studies this tava with resolute faith, offering his mind unto the beautiful forms of the divine couple, assuredly attains his residence in Sri Vajadama, and following behind his own Manjari Guru, he renders all kinds of service for the worship of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Thus, he has written this. And I also wanted to share one more thing about Bhaktivinoda Thakur's daily schedule. His daily schedule was something like this. His son, one of his sons, Lalita Prasad Thakur, in his notes writes that his father used to do daily deity worship. He was never idle. He was always engaged in the service of the Lord. And he slept between 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., which was just a half an hour. And he would go to bed. He would then rise again just before 10 p.m. and then light his oil lamp and write books until 4 a.m. Then he would again rest for a maximum of half an hour. At 4:30 a.m., he would wash his hands and face and sit down and chant on his beads. He never showed his beads to anyone, but would chant on them constantly as time permitted. At 7 a.m., he answered all his correspondences. At 7:30 a.m., he read various religious and philosophical works. And at 8:30 a.m., he received visitors, if any, or else continued to read until 9:30 a.m. At that time, he would walk back and forth on the veranda of his house, contemplating different religious questions and solving them in his mind. Sometimes he would solve them aloud, as if preaching to some unseen guest. He would rest briefly between 9:30 to 9:45 a.m., then take bath and breakfast, which usually consisted of half quart of milk, two chapatis, and some fruit. At 9:55 a.m., the Thakura would don his uniform and leave for court in his carriage. As a magistrate, he wore a coat and pants. On his neck were 6 strands of large tulsi beads. He was resolute in his court decisions and would decide a case immediately, not tolerating any humbug. He did his business and left. He shaved his head monthly and never cared what anyone thought of it. The lawyers and Englishmen were astounded by the Thakura's capacity for work. At 10 a.m., court began. He would hear between 30 and 50 cases per day, yet he finished by 1 p.m. What took other magistrates one and a half hour, he finished in 5 minutes. He took another 2 minutes to write the judgment in detail. Some of his British superiors became envious and tried to discourage him, but he was not affected. At 1 p.m., he went home, refreshed himself, and then returned to work from 2 to 5 p.m. Every evening after his court duties, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur would translate some Sanskrit religious work into Bengali and by dictating it to a secretary. Then there was an evening bath and meal consisting of little rice, 2 chapatis, and half protein. This is what was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's daily schedule. And with that, I conclude. There is so much more to talk about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and everything cannot be covered here. So, and his character was impeccable, like, literally flawless, very perfect, and he didn't spend any time wasting the time. Like, he was always very determined to go ahead with this preaching, writing, and chanting, and debating, and delivering other humans. So with that, with this, I conclude Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Charita or his autobiography, whatever was possible. And I beg forgiveness if I have missed anything or if I have said anything. Please forgive me. It's open for your feedback or comments or questions, and whatever little knowledge I have, I will try to share. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. What a wonderful class. What a wonderful presentation. Brought back all the memories of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what we read in our previous days. It was really very, very nice. I will ask questions a little later. If anybody has got any questions, let them ask first.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, mothers. So nice presentation. I'm I'm overwhelmed with so many books, were written, and I don't know. So only one book, it took so much of time, and it was in that depth, Jaiv Dharma. So I don't, if that is the level of that, then what to, other books and other articles that are written, right? Thank you, Mother. It's so nice, informative, and I'm trying to understand you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. I will share the presentation. So I have to correct the typographical mistakes that I made while preparing the presentation. I'll correct it, rectify it, and I'll send it, and perhaps put the daily schedule also on that slide, and then share it. Please give me some time with all of you. Wherever I have to upload, I will touch base with Sanjeev Prabhuji, Bhagat Seva Prabhuji, and have permission to upload it or send by email. I'll do that. I was overwhelmed, like thinking how, like, with all these challenges, health challenges, job, like challenges in his job, like, conflict resolution is not easy. It's like exhausting, like draining one's energy. But still, he was so steadfast. Unless, like, he's Nitya Parshad, unless he's the Nitya Parshad, it's simply impossible for a normal human being to do all these things. I mean, simply impossible. Cannot even imagine, like, fathom this, like how he spent the 24 hours in a day. Like, hardly he had maybe an hour or hour and a half sleep, hardly here and there. Like, it doesn't look so when Shri Lalita Prasad Thakurji wrote this. It doesn't even look that he had even 1 hour sleep in a day. Like, he was just going on, and so many health challenges. and job, like to get a job also, he struggled so much, like, um, but he was so steadfast. I mean, little bit learning from his thing, like right now what I'm going through in my personal situation. Like, even if I had a little bit of that determination, like, at least my sadhana would be that great. Very good.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice representation. Very nicely explained.
Thank you, Madam. I couldn't do any justice because I don't have the qualification, but just tried a bit from what I read from the book. Sometimes it's some of the things that are written in this book, or some of them are out of sequence, in the sense it's not in sequential order. So try some of it might sound that, I'm going back and forth from 1900 to 1800, so 19th century, 20th century. But those are the facts that are written in the book, uh, and that's presented by Shri Rupudas Das in this book.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Wonderful explanation for this session was very wonderful and very simple, but very clear and very nicely explained. Really, got lots of news to hear of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Thank you.
So much. Hare Krishna.
So, if everyone has finished, I would like to mention something. A couple of points which Mataji mentioned was very interesting. First thing is, I never noticed. I mean, I've heard this so many times, but never noticed that Bihari carried him all the way. That is Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj from Vrindavan to Navadvip. In a basket. I thought he was somewhere in Navadvip maybe, but can you imagine the the distance, from
Yeah.
all the way from Vrindavan to Navadvip, carrying somebody in a basket? It was such an amazing thing. Just struck me today. I was thinking, and then also I have read it many times, but it never occurred to me that Kamala Manjari being the associate of that Ananga Manjari, and because of that, he chose Swaran Sukand Kunj, which is like we hear Godrum is a Namir Hatta of Nityananda Prabhu opened his Nam Hatta there, and that the songs which Bhaktivinoda Thakur only introduced to us all these things, about how the Namhatta was opened by Nityananda Prabhu there, and it was such an amazing, that Bado
That
Sukher Khobor
connection.
Gai.
Yeah.
Yeah, the connection. Bado Sukher Khobor Gai, that song, then now everything makes sense. So very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. It was so
Sorry, I
helpful.
did put it on the slide. I will, I didn't have the time to put it on the slide. So I read it from the book itself, that I'm not making any mistakes or, misinterpretation or, so it
No,
makes sense, right? So from there, like,
yeah, it's amazing.
and the same year, that 1896, when he sent that book
Yeah,
to the
that,
Western world, 1896, Srila
yeah.
Prabhupada also arrived on this planet, exactly representing
Yeah.
that he's going to go to the Western world, and
Yes, and Srila
he's
Prabhupada
representing.
himself said that it's no coincidence. He said it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Prabhupada
So,
himself said that. So
yeah.
that was very nice.
It's all planned, like from, like it looks so, like for us it looks like, because
Yeah,
our senses are not that purified, and our senses are so
right.
related to the contaminated with the material thing, that we thought, oh, he was born, so what, kind of. No, but this was all planned, like it was all perfectly done, like,
Yeah,
so.
and that Bhakti Bhavan you spoke about, where the Thakura lived entire life in Bhakti Bhavan, actually most of his life, and that was also we had covered in Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's. We showed the thing, and then we we he in that place, in that house, in that whatever mansion, he also had a Bhagavad Yantra going on. That is the printing press right inside that house. So amazing. So he was like he was writing and printing at the same place. Like today you mentioned about all the different books that he wrote. So the printing was also going on simultaneously. He was teaching his son also how to do typesetting, how to do editing, and all that. So much was going on in that place. If I
I
ever
forgot to
get a
mention
chance.
that you mentioned in your lecture, like he visioned like there was like gold and where that location, right? That was now the Mayapur from his window. He was seeing like that from his house from Swan and the Sukha the Kunj. He's
Yes,
spotted that
yes.
place from
The
all
balcony.
reading the manuscripts. Yeah, from the balcony manuscripts after reading the maps. So he just wanted to ensure. So that I forgot to mention, but you had mentioned in your lecture about that clearly when you had gone through all that, like, he was envisioning that's the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya.
So amazing. I really, but one thing was always like in my mind. Always, I used to think when he said he wrote so many books, so many songs on Guru Tattva. He was talking about uh, Guru Gurudev Bodo Krupa Kori Godruma Diyecho Sthan or something like that. That song is there. Gurudev Bodo Krupa Kori. Um, गौरव बन माझे गोद्रुमे दियेचो स्थान. That is the song, uh, which means that Gurudev, you have by your mercy in Gaura one, that is in the forest of Gauda, and in a place called Godruma, you have given me a place to live. This is the translation. But I used to think that now when you talked about uh, how he got initiation from Bipin Bihari Goswami, then how he went to Vrindavan and got shiksha from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, then how he came back and he got Babaji Vesha from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So when he was thinking, when he was writing this song, what would he be thinking of? Who would be his Gurudev? Who is who is who is actually referring to it? Always, I was very curious. Could you
One
shed
one
some
other point, one other point I forgot to mention is even though his Diksha Guru was initially Vipin Vihari Goswami ji, but on some kind of disagreement on Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he did not give so much importance later on in his life to his Diksha Guru. That one of his sons mentioned in his Lalita Prasad Thakur also mentioned in his he mentions that in his Swalik Jeevani he has written that there was some disagreements. And then he took Srila Jagannath was seeing Srila Jagannath Das Babaji when he visited Vrindavan and he saw Jagannath Das Babaji. He took his words more, into consideration, though he was a Siksha Guru, but he took him like more than a Diksha Guru because of the disagreement on Srila Raghunath Goswami. I think Sharat Prabhuji might know more details on this. If he knows, he can shed some light on it. There was some disagreement on, about their perspectives on Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ji. That was that. Sorry, you had asked something. Sorry,
No,
Archana Mataji.
I was thinking whether Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, why didn't he approach him for Babaji Vesha and he approached Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj for Babaji Vesha? That was a little bit confusing. And then when he's talking about Guru Dev, then who is he actually referring to? Either Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj or Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj or
In his songs, right? Yeah.
yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
just curious, that's all.
His Shiksha Guru is Jagannath Das Babaji. So,
I
and he
think
was very elevated and very old at that time too. So, perhaps that was the reason why he did not approach Jagannath Das Babaji at that time, because it is also explained, expressed that, for Jagannath Das Babaji to see, his eyelids had to be literally, you had to put the fingers and they were just glued to the lower lids and you literally have to lift it. That is how he saw, because he was so old, his eyelids were sticking together. And that is also mentioned here in the book. Like when he was carried on the basket, he automatically got ecstatic and he jumped out of the basket to dance. Itu Nimai Janmabhoomi, he said. Itu Nimai Janmabhoomi, this is where Lord Nitya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. But his eyelids were closed. That's what they're saying. Like, no, his soul, Atma, he knew, and he was a Nitya Parshad and he knew exactly where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. So one of the reasons, this is only speculation, I might be wrong, but might be one of the reason. He was very old at that time, and Gaurakishore Das Babaji was very much in Navadvip at that time. So he chose to take Babaji Vesh from him. And also when Gaurakishore Das Babaji, he didn't give initiation to his own son. He told him to approach Gaurakishore Das Babaji because he was so elevated.
No,
Sharat
because in our
Prabhu.
Guru Parampara, we take Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj as a disciple of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right?
In that,
In our
picture, like in that picture
oh,
that
Guru
we see.
Parampara.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Guru Parampara.
yeah. But he
No,
took
it was
Babaji Vesh. Yeah. Sharat Prabhuji, if you have more points on this, if you can enlighten us, I have no words to more to Archana Mataji's very good question.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much regarding what you said. The difference of opinion of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, actually that aspect I'll study when I go back to Bhubaneswar. My books are there. I'll study that aspect and I'll let you know. Very well taken class. Thank you very much, Mataji. You have covered everything so nicely, so precisely. It is a very vast subject, but still then you could do it. Just one word about the song, the song Archana Mataji sang today at the end, and she was referring to the verse by Rupa Goswami. That is actually given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Smeran Bhangi Traya Parichitan Sachi Bistrin Drustrin Vamsi Nyashtadhara Kisalayam Ujjalam Chandrakena Govindakhyam Haritanum Ita Kesi Tirthopakanthe Ma Prakshatis Taba Yadi Sakhe Bandhu Sange Tri Ranga. Meaning, my dear friend, if you are indeed attached to your worldly friends, then do not look at the smiling face of Lord Govinda as he stands on the bank of Yamuna at Kesighat, casting sidelong glances. He places his flute to his lips, which seems like the newly blossomed twigs, and his transcendental body bending in three places appear very bright in the moonlight. That is so nicely composed by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It was word to word and it was very, very nice. Then regarding the question Raksha Mataji had asked yesterday, she is not here today. That's why I will answer that in the next class. Actually, next the weekend, I have got my class on Saturday, and the Raksha Mataji has got the class on the Sunday. That day I'll tell. Regarding Lalit Priya Mataji asked about this question, that is the difference of opinion, that I'll study later on and I'll let you know. This I do not have also any idea, though I have studied this Seventh Goswami book a long time back. I do not remember all the facts as of now. Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you very much for taking such a nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Is there any points regarding what Archana Mataji asked also regarding why Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur took Babaji Vesha from Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji instead of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji? Of course, Jagannath Das Babaji lived his last till at Surya Kund at Vrajdham. This is what I remember reading from somewhere. And Gaura Kishore Das Babaji was pretty much in Navadvipa at that time when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was in Swanand Sukada Kunj. Was there any other philosophical reasons why he chose Gaura Kishore Das Babaji when our Parampara picture has Gaura Kishore Das Babaji sitting after Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur in the disciplic succession picture that we put on the altar? So was there any specific reason or it was just like that?
Yeah, I also find no other reason Actually, I have not gone on to that aspect. We'll study that, and once we come up on something, I'll say, because without knowing, contemplating on something, that would not be correct. So let us study the literature or ask somebody, some acharya or some Maharaj, then I'll let you know sometime later. Let us find out about these things, because we do not have knowledge on these.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mataji. Then, if there are no questions, then we can conclude the class with the Nrsimha prayers.
Prabhuji, may I do the Nrsimha prayers?
Sure.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Such a wonderful class, and with pranam to you. Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad प्रह्लादनाददायिने हिरण्यकाशिपूर्वक्षः हिरण्यकाशिपूर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कानखालाये शीलटङ्कानखालाये इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा बाहि नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा बाहि नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरे नखं मधुतशृङ्गं दलितहिरण्यकशिपु धनुभृङ्गं केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरे नखम् अद्भुतशृङ्गं ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गं केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू प्रभुजी धन्यवाद
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna
pranam.
Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sir Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to all Mataji
Thank you.
and
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, everyone. Thank you. Hare Bol.